Parker, and the numbers speak for themselves. Here is where she ranks in her career all time. A chance to possibly move up into the top 5 all time in assists, and she's already there in blocks, doubles, and rebounds, and she has accomplished so much in her career already, but had us all in a headlock on Saturday, announcing via Instagram that she would be joining the Las Vegas Aces. And we have the Candace Parker with us right now. Candace, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. And I want to start the last place that I saw you. I was courtside for what would be your final game with the Chicago Sky. Take us from that moment, the end of last season, into ultimately your decision to join the defending WNBA champs.
Well, obviously the city of Chicago means so much. So to just be on the court and take in the moment, I think every moment after the season, after you lose, you need a period of, calm. That the team is not going to be the same no matter what. And so I think just as a competitor, I took about a week or two, and then I got back into the gym and got back into working out. And from there, I realized I really wanted to play. I wanted to play another year, and I felt like I had more in me to be able to play in another season. And so from there, it was just kind of talking it over with my family. And I really am big in establishing priorities and what's important. And then you can't waver. And so once that list was made, then, we kind of just went back and forth as a family, talked about it. And it was really important to me to be able to get to take my daughter to school and to be able to see her games. And I'm a mess when I can't do that. And so I think that was priority number 1. And then obviously competing for a championship at this point in my career is priority number 2. And so this Vegas just seemed like the best of both worlds.
I think there's a lot of cool connections that you have with the Aces that maybe people on the outside don't know. Nikki Caldwell, she recruited you and coached you at Tennessee to championships there. How did that connection and relationship impact your decision?
I know she's Nikki Fargas now, but she's Nikki Caldwell for everybody. She recruited me at Tennessee, and she was honestly one of the main reasons why I went to the University of Tennessee. She was my coach there, assistant coach for 4 years, and then she actually was the head coach at UCLA. And so she was out in LA when I first had Layla, and she came and visited me in the hospital. And, we've always remained close. And then she went to LSU, and we still remain in contact. And so when she got the job in Vegas, just being able to see her and, see what they're building there, I think was extremely intriguing. And then again, Becky Hammond actually played with my wife on the Russian national team in 2012. Obviously, Chelsea Gray, the connection there, her and her wife are the godparents of our son Air. So the connections just continue to just overlap. And, I really love being a part of a family and love the connections. And I think as you get older, you realize it's important in the connections off the court as well. And so, Asia, just have had that connection with her, watching her grow and watching her play and win a championship last year. So I'm just really, really blessed and fortunate to be joining such an amazing squad. I mean, I told them from the get-go, I'm like, you guys are competing for a championship with or without me. And, I think that there's power in that, that we can make this easier for each other.
I think a lot of people are intrigued from the basketball piece of this is what do you anticipate? You have such a high basketball IQ. You think the game, you breathe the game. How do you see this working on the court? Tell us what you're excited about from that standpoint.
I look at the numbers and I look at the stats, and, I think I pride myself on making people around me better. I hope to continue to make people around me better. And although it's a steep task to try to make Asia Wilson better, 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Chelsea Gray, MVP, Finals MVP, Kelsey Plum, who had an amazing season last year, Jackie Young, Raquana Williams, Alicia Clark, you go down the line, it's going to be hard to make them better because they're so great, but I'm up for the task. And, I think the biggest thing, there's power in evolving, there's power in, continuing to learn. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that. I mean, Becky Hammond, some of the wrinkles I was watching last year, I was like, man, that was a nice wrinkle. That was a nice play that you drew up. And so I'm excited to be in those huddles.
And Candace, one of the things that the Chicago Sky players always said about you was how smart you are and intelligent on the floor. But I want to ask, what is
What's it about you? When you were in LA, win a championship. Chicago, win a championship. Now you're coming to Vegas. What is it that Candace Parker has on the inside that helps make championships happen?
I think I've evolved as a human. I realize that it's not just like who puts the ball in the basket or who gets the assist. It's the hockey assist that matters. It's the cut. It's the attention to detail. It's the slip screen. It's the thinking. It's the manipulating the play. And I think also it's the locker room. I think it's super important to be able to be vulnerable and let your guard down a little bit. I think we have this image like that everybody has to be tough and has to be all this and all that. And I think, there's power in the vulnerability of not knowing something. And so I think just as teammates, being able to bring that out of each other, because there's a hell of a lot I can learn from Kelsey Plum, as well as from Jackie Young, from Becky. And so I'm not like, just because I've won a championship in other places doesn't mean that, that's the only way to do it. So I think I'm excited in year 37 that you can teach an old dog new tricks, and I'm looking forward to it.
37? I don't believe it. I just said I was courtside in Chicago
I'm not 37
in the
yet.
playoffs. Okay, all about to say, you
I'm
still looking
36,
real spry. That's the word we like to use when you out there with the bouncy piece. It's spry, yes. But I wanted to broaden the scope of this conversation just a little bit. As you look across the WNBA, we are seeing so much movement during the free agency period. We have since the new CBA was adopted. What do you make of this, and what do you think this means for the league moving forward?
Well, China, I think more players are realizing that this is life. Like, this is your life. And I think so many times we look at it as teams and as competition, but there's so many other elements and aspects that go into it. Like, I'm a mom first, that. And to be able to hop on a 30-minute flight and be back home, to be able to, my daughter was the center of the reason why I made this decision, because she's always had to sacrifice for me. Since the time she was born, going to Russia and China and Istanbul, Turkey, and pick up and leave and be in school here and there. And I was tired of it. And I want to make that sacrifice for her. And so I think there's so many people in the league that are deciding to do that. Sorry, my phone fell. There's so many people in the league that are deciding to do that and deciding to make decisions for them. And if this was a job, and not a team that you're going to, I think so many people would make, the decisions they're making.
Candace, such huge news last week when you announced that you were signing with Vegas. Today, huge news when Breanna Stewart announces that she's signing with the New York Liberty. What do you think is the most impactful free agency signing that we've seen so far?
I think the most impactful free agency signing is rivalry, because that's what every league and every successful league needs. I think that it was pretty special when the Minnesota Lynx and the LA Sparks were going at it. I think it's pretty special when you saw the Comets, going at it with the LA Sparks early in the career in the WNBA. So I think for me, the biggest impact is just teams that are building to really be that rivalry and develop that rivalry. And with New York being one of the first franchises, I had a New York Liberty jersey, I had a Comets jersey, I had a LA Sparks jersey. So I think that anytime we're able to kind of like build around, franchises and build teams that are going to be successful and compete for a championship, that's going to get attention. That's going to get fans in the seats. That's going to get coverage. You guys are going to say, you'd be using a lot of words, hopefully spry, LaChina.
That's Ryan.
Yeah. So, but I will say, and I'll say this time and time again, I think, yes, they're the big signings, but there's also the low attention signings that are going to be the biggest hits. And, I think we got a couple just in terms of Alicia Clark and her ability to come in, and she's won a championship and championships, I should say. So I think that there's going to be other signings like that are going to be in the coming days. And hopefully you guys are announcing it tonight on the show.
All right, Candace, we've been looking up Jay-Z lyrics to spit at you right now. We don't have any good ones, but I do want to say, you're one of the few women who have played in the WNBA the entire entirety of your career as a mother. So shout out to that and making the decision for your daughter. I think a lot of us have a lot of respect for that. And you said you're going to make people better. I think you're going to make it easier for people because now they're going to have to step out and guard Candace Parker. Like, good luck, everybody in the league. Good luck.
It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with.
Holly Rowe, I got a lyric for you. Everybody out there trying to make their decision, just make sure you did it your way. So I did it my way, Jay-Z, Frank Sinatra, just play that in the background and make your decision.
I love it. Well, Holly may be short on Jay-Z lyrics. I'm not short on Jay-Z lyrics, but we can get to that after this. Candace, thank you for joining us. And on National Girls and Women in Sports Day, thank you for everything you do for this sport. Thank you as now an athlete's mom, the example you're setting with Layla and what you've meant to this league. We appreciate your time. And finally, I get to say, the Aces got an ace. Thank you so much, Candace.
Appreciate you guys.
Candace Parker giving us an encore. Do you want more? Yes, Candace Parker does want more. She is going for what she hopes to be her third championship. And the cupboard is not bare in Vegas. When you look at this roster, it's almost it's wild. Asia Wilson, the current MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Kelsey Plum had an outstanding season. Jackie Young, 4 #1 picks can be in the lineup at once for Becky Hammond's team. I mean, looking at this roster is just unbelievable. It's embarrassment of talent. But I want to go straight to Asia.